Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching today's video. So as the title said, today we are going to be diving into everything infantry march setup wise. And forgive me, I'm doing this all in one take. I don't do a lot of editing. I just try and get you guys some of the best information that there is on YouTube. So I'm a 158 million power player, trying my damnedest here to get to 2 billion kills before KVK 6 is over. But I've been playing the game a little over a year now. I've hopped around a couple different kingdoms trying to find that right home. So I've been playing the game for a little bit here, and I'm just looking to kind of spread the knowledge with the rest of you guys. So if you're here and you like the video, consider subscribing to the channel. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I do have a cat sitting right next to me, and she loves to talk anytime I talk. So without further ado, we're going to dive right into it. The way that I'm going to structure this video is we are going to go over kind of some of the basics about what infantry heroes kind of are made of and what makes them hit hard, and what you need to kind of focus on when you are building with different skills, and what equipment you should use, what order you should kind of upgrade your equipment in, what heroes to focus based on what season you're in. And then we're going to go into hero by hero. Essentially, we're going to do the best combinations that you can make based on what season you're in, and we're going to start from season 0 and work our way up to season X. So on your screen, popping up right now, is going to be the specific hero type and different skill combinations that you're going to want to pay attention to in case you're just here for a specific setup. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So infantry heroes are becoming the new meta in this game. So infantry heroes do a lot of damage, and they don't die as quick. They're like a good middle between pikeman marches and archer marches, as archer marches are usually targeted really quick because they don't have a lot of HP, and archer marches get taken down really fast, not like infantry marches. So typically what most players in this game do is they build what's called a rage build for as many infantry heroes as they have available. And so I have no idea why this is making me start over again. It's done this a couple of times. So let me find a level 56 here, and I'm first going to explain what rage is, okay? So let's say you're attacking someone, maybe it's a city, maybe it's a march, maybe it's a monster. All right, so what rage is, see these yellow dots right here, right next to the hero's name? So these fill up over time with what is called rage. And for each of your heroes, every hero is the same. It takes 1,000 rage to activate the active skill. And so infantry heroes are known to have really good active skills. That's going to be this skill right here where it says active. Okay, passive skills, usually there's a probability chance that's incorporated with that you can't really increase or decrease depending on what skills you're using. But we'll dive into that when we get into hero specific. So here's your rage. A rage recovers, I think it's 100 per second in battle as default. Okay, so every 10 seconds or so, your active rage is going to be inflicted. So what people try to do is they try to utilize skills that give your heroes rage. So unfortunately, a lot of those skills are going to be the season X, season 3, 2, and 1 skills, but there are a couple epic skills that we're going to talk about that are definitely a necessity in your infantry marches. So as you can see here, this is my main march here. I've got 2 skills here that build my rage, but they also kind of do this retribution thing, but we'll get into that later. We'll kind of just head over the skill tab here, and we'll show you all the rage ones. So Berserk, Killing Machine, Ferocious Hack and Slack. Those are the season X skills that I have unlocked right now that help with rage rebuilding. The amazing epic skill that you're going to want to use in almost any infantry march you use is going to be called, I'm blanking on the names. So we're just going to go to it. We're going to find it. We do this in one take. We don't do any editing. Okay, that's going to be First Strike. Okay, so gains 75 rage every second for the first 30 seconds. And if we're going to say that 100 rage every second is default, you almost just doubled how fast you recover rage with this one skill that you can unlock almost immediately into the game. Having this skill on either your archer or your infantry marches is going to be a necessity, depending on whatever season you are in the game. But here we'll kind of just quickly go through all the infantry hero skills that you're eventually one day probably going to use, just so you kind of have an idea on how these different skill sets are broken up between pikemans, archers, and infantry. So Berserk, Killing Machine. I know there's some season X skills I don't have unlocked yet, but for a lot of my viewers, you guys are not in season X and don't have all of these unlocked in the first place. So it gives you a good starting point. Ferocious Hack and Slack's another one that we'll use for infantry marches. Silent Invasion is another one you'll use for your infantry marches. So not all these skills are just rage related, but infantry related, let's say, depending on what hero you're using. Trap and Despair you'll use. Bloodstained Icefield, this too shall not pass, you'll use. Depending if you're running 5 marches, Disarmament is always a great skill to use. Very balanced. It essentially disarms whoever you're attacking, and so it's good with whatever march you use it with if you're usually running 5. Silencer, that's another good one. Enrage is going to be another one of your rage skills. Essentially 20% chance, gain 100% rage or 100 rage. Rage Leech is another good one. Essentially, because you're trying to build up rage and use your active skill as many times as possible, that's why this skill is so good, because every time your active skill gets used, you use this skill. And so that's another great one to have in your rage build. But we'll get more into that once we start doing individual heroes. Not a lot of great ones here going down the line. Blessed by Fate, you'll only want to use this one with heroes that boost basic attack. That's another good one. Thor's Determination, once you kind of get into the game and you're doing a lot of tapping, for lack of better words, when you fight, you're not just hitting someone for 9 seconds at a time. It's usually like 1 or 2 seconds you're getting to hit them. The skill isn't great, but at the start of the game, when you're pushing up an arena or you're just getting introduced to like Battle of Ruins, this one's usually a good one to have. Or if you have, I would say, at least 4 infantry marches in your mix, which not a lot of people do, then you would probably use this one. But Odin's Asylum, that's another rage skill. So every time you cast a rage skill or your active skill, it gives you a % chance to do damage, and it gives you a shield. So again, if you're trying to use that active skill over and over and over again, that's a good skill to throw in there as well. And then First Strike, that's going to be your other one. You can get into a lot of the epic skills if you're moving up into that 4 or 5 infantry march range. But typically, not a lot of people use these. Containment's a good one, but not really for infantry. You can kind of go down here. Once you get higher up into the seasons, and you're using more and more infantry marches, it's good to take a look at these and try and figure out which one gives you direct damage. So like this one sucks, but if we just go ahead and find one here, so like this is a good one to pair with a hero that benefits off of the target being slowed, because if you're just tapping him over and over and over again, you're kind of mainly just hoping that this skill goes off. But it's at least a guarantee that it has a chance to go off, rather than some of the other skills that take 9 seconds to actually take effect. So yeah, just kind of give these a skim, try and find the ones that do direct damage, or just give you, they're based off of a percentage of chance, right? So you're not just hitting a target for 9 seconds. You're tapping him and hoping that active skill gets triggered. So that's skills in a nutshell. We're going to go over how to upgrade your equipment if you're starting off here next. So obviously, as everyone knows, Blessed Equipment is the best equipment to have in the game. It gives you the best overall stats depending on what level you get it up to. But at the start of the season, if you're in season 0, 1, 2, or 3, and you kind of don't have a lot of blessed equipment, here's kind of how you should upgrade your infantry equipment and what you should use. So for your shield, weapon, whatever you want to call it, best bang for your buck is going to be the X of Rage, because you're going to get infantry attack and you're going to get infantry defense out of it. There's not another weapon in the game that'll give you that. As you can see, this is my main infantry march, and I actually still use this. It's the Venom armor for your chest piece. Down the road, you can kind of get into blessed equipment, but I'm not. We'll explain that later why I'm keeping this. Okay, so leggings. Where is it? This guy right here, Cryptic Boots. This is going to give you the most infantry stats here, mainly just infantry attack. If you're more so looking for defense, you can go for the Earthquake Boots, but just remember that you'll probably want to max that out. Or if you have multiple infantry marches at the beginning, you can have one march with these boots and one march with the other boots, or split them up however you want. Honestly, I would say one. Like you would want to split up the attack and the defense between both marches. You wouldn't want to stack one or the other. Headpiece, monster equipment, you're going to be looking at this headpiece. There's not a great headpiece for infantry stats. This is going to be your best one. All it really does is give you 5% infantry defense if you get it up to epic level. But those are going to be your monster pieces of equipment that you're going to start focusing on early off. And then as you get into building your blessed gear, there's actually a procedure that you should kind of do it at. So first of all, get your monster equipment up to purple. Okay. Because blue blessed equipment is better than purple monster equipment. So purple is kind of what you're shooting for to start off. Don't try and go for legendaries unless you're a huge spender. But you want to try and get everything up to purple before you start looking at blessed gear or upgrading pieces to legendary level. So once you have your monster equipment up to blue or purple, then you're going to start looking at the blessed headpiece and the blessed boots. Okay. Don't even think about doing these unless you can get the blessed piece of equipment up to at least purple. Okay. Don't look at these. They don't give you amazing stats compared to what you'll get in the leggings or the boots and the headpiece. Okay. The stats you get are just so much greater than what you get here. So here I get 13% infantry attack, but for the headpiece, I get 10% infantry attack. And, you can rate it yourself. But essentially, it's so much better to do these two first and then go after these later once you can confirm that you can get them out to purple. Then after that, you're a big bad spender and you just, have purple blessed equipment on all of your marches and you're just a beast and everyone knows that you dump thousands of dollars in this game. All right, so that's equipment. We've covered skills. Let's go over mounts, okay? Mounts, obviously, when it comes to infantry and almost any mount that you have, typically you want to try and have one of your heroes be attack and one of your heroes be defense. Unless you are a rally leader, then it's kind of just going to depend on what you're doing. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So essentially, you'll want to try and have one for attack, one for defense. I ended up not doing that, and I've got a full attack set of infantry heroes here. So they hit really hard, but if I get hit back, it's not very pretty. So that's just why I always recommend splitting them up, have one attack, one defense. And that way you're just well-rounded. Unless you're just a big spender in this game, then you can do whatever your wallet lets you do. So mounts, split them up. Don't go for HP. It's not worth it. The attack and defense is so much better in this game than HP is. When it comes to once you start awakening your mounts, we are going to cover that in the individual hero segment of this because it's all going to be dependent on what heroes you're using. Whether you're going to want to try and boost rage or basic attack or slowness or silence, or depending on whatever you're using, you might want to try to be pushing a different thing. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. But if you're looking for a safe bet, no matter what you're using, go for the rage skills. Okay, so that's a bad example, but this one's going to be better. So every time I use an active skill, I automatically get 65 rage. So that's like, 6.5% of my way to using an active skill again. And so that's how you kind of got to think about it, is you're just trying to minimize that rage build time. And this helps you do it. So no matter what infantry march you're using, it's always the same. So that is mounts. When it comes to, what kind of pieces you want to use, I highly, highly, highly recommend waiting to dump your mount aptitude into legendary pieces. Because if you recycle a part piece, you will not get as much out of it as you put into it. So you're going to lose a significant amount of your, what do they call it? And I just used all mine on your aptitude honing, whatever that stuff's called. So try and save for the legendary parts, and that will be your best bang for your buck, especially if you're more free to play. All right, so that is mounts, that's skills, that's equipment. Now we're going to go into the individual hero combinations depending on what season you're in. So at this point in the video, if you watch all the way, feel free to skip around based on what you want to see, but we're going to be starting from season 0 and working our way all the way up to season X. We're going to talk about different combinations along the way, whether you're running 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 infantry marches, depending on what season you're in. We're going to really get into it here. So I did my best with the timestamps at the beginning, but I can only be so good. So let's start off at season 0. Okay, we are starting off with Jens and Gregory. Okay, these are going to be your season 0 infantry heroes. You by all means can push your infantry epic hero. I haven't used her ever, so definitely don't recommend making her your priority fighter. She's not that great. Also, you can get these hero shards, Gregory and Jens, for free at your clan shop. You can buy 10 a week. I would recommend starting to buy those as soon as you play the game because you only get 10 a week. It takes 1,200 shards to ascend a hero. So you can do your own math there on how long that takes. So get started as soon as you can. They're free shards. Take advantage of them. So with these two heroes, you're just starting out. You don't have any of the season 2, 3, or X skills yet. So what do you use and why do you use them? Okay, so we're going to get into the why as well here. So we'll go through Jens' talent. It looks like we boost his cooperation skill damage just by a little bit. When you perform a basic attack, you can heal your troops. And then here's the big one. Increases your deployed troops' basic attack damage by 6%. If the troops are bleeding, then there's a 20% chance to do a direct damage. Okay, so we got to remember bleed. And then if we go to Gregory, Gregory is a basic attack style of hero. So as you can see, he's going to boost your basic attack. And he's going to do different damages, whatever. So this one, it looks like we get 25% chance to cause our target to be slowed. Okay, so we know that we're going to be causing slow. And then every time you use an active skill, there's a 40% chance to do another direct damage. So that'll go on top of this. So essentially, these two heroes aren't very alike, but they're your first option. So I would highly recommend the Rage build. That's going to be your best bet. The best skills for that, in my opinion, if you're just starting out, is going to be your epic, I can never remember the name of it, First Strike. That's going to be skill number 1. And then starting out beginning, Thor's Determination's great. Blessed by Fate, you're definitely going to want to use. And as you go up here, I would recommend Rage Leech, wherever the heck that one's hiding. I've gone by it already. Rage Leech and Enrage. Okay, those are going to be your rage skills. That's what you're going to want to use for this combination. And it's going to be kind of repetitive as we go through this video because a lot of these heroes, Rage build is the best. So just starting out, that's really your only option. Try and get those skills as quick as you can, and best of luck. So we'll kind of move on here to Season 1 heroes. Now you've unlocked Hobart, and you have unlocked, I actually use him still because he's my 3rd March, but Bjorn, Bj, I don't know, whatever you want to call him. That is going to be this guy right here. I'm going to call him Bjorn, and we're going to go with it. So these are going to be your Season 1 heroes, and here's who you should pick if you can't get both. I would highly recommend unlocking this guy, Bjorn, over Hobart. Go with Bjorn. you can pair him up. You're going to want to pair him up with gens, just because of that bleed factor that we saw back here. Okay, so Bjorn, he causes bleed. And I'll tell you that gens paired with Bjorn beats Gregory paired with Hobart every single time. I remember just getting stomped on in season 1 because I ended up pushing these two, and it didn't work out great for me. So I would highly recommend taking Bjorn over Hobart. But if you do end up picking Hobart, you're going to want to pair him with Gregory. No brainer, unless you have unlocked Bjorn, then I would pair those two together. They do more damage. But if you're just unlocking one and you chose Hobart, you're going to want to pair him with Gregory. So Gregory boosts basic attack. So you're going to pair him with another hero that boosts basic attack. So essentially your skills are going to, and that's when every one of you in your mind thought you're going to pair it with basic attack boosting buffs or skills. So that's going to be Thor's Determination again. That is going to be Lessened by Fate. Those are going to be your 2 basic attack boosting legendary skills. So you're going to want to try and push for. And then you're also going to want to start throwing in the rage build there. So I would throw in First Strike, the epic one, Odin's Asylum. It's another rage build. And then your 2 up here, Rage Leech and Enrage. So that's 5 skills to choose from. Hopefully you can get 4 of them. If not, just throw something else in there that looks like it boosts basic attack. This should be good to go. When it comes to Bjorn and gens, that one gets a little trickier. You get a couple more options. So if you have Hobart and Gregory as your first march, and you also have, you're pairing it up with your other one here. Let's say you want to use Bjorn and you want to pair him up with gens. You're going to kind of play with your skills a little bit differently. So we're going to go look at Bjorn's skills to learn why we're about to pair him up with skills. So when trips to perform a basic attack, you got a 25% chance, blah, blah, blah. Damage can cause the target to be slow. Okay, so we're causing slow, which we also know that Gregory does, but that doesn't matter. So cooperation skill damage, that's going up by 15%. We know that gens' cooperation skill also gets boosted 6%. So we want to combine those. And then every 6 seconds, we're going to actually inflict the target with bleed. And then it's like, well, wait, we also know that gens, if I ever get to him, right here, we also know that if the target is bleeding, we have a 20% chance to do an additional damage factor. So that's why we want to pair Bjorn and gens up together to try and overall boost that bleeding effect here to try and get additional damage. So with those, there aren't any skills, isn't a Season Extra 1 skill that actually causes bleed. So this one, you are going to want to take advantage of the active skill damage. So this one's going to be a rage-only build. Use the 5 or so rage skills we've been talking about this whole video. First Strike, Enrage, Odin's Asylum, Rage Leech, and First Strike. Those are going to be your 5 skills to choose from for this combination. Now, we're going to talk about if you're running both. Let's say you've been able to unlock both Bjorn and Hobart. I would recommend you are going to pair Bjorn with Hobart. You're going to pair these 2 up, and you're going to make it full rage build out of those 5 skills we just talked about. And then for your second infantry march, you're going to pair Gregory with gens, and you're going to try and boost basic attack as much as you can with this hero combination. So that's how I would highly recommend it. Feel free to try pairing Gregory with Hobart, but essentially the damage that Hobart and Bjorn do together compared to if you were to break the heroes up any other way, they're going to do the most damage. They are. They're going to be Season 1 heroes. They're better than Season 0 heroes. So pairing those 2 together and then keeping Gregory and gens together is going to be your best bet for a well-rounded march. All right, so that's Season 1. That's Season 0. We are going to get into Season 2 now. So in Season 2, you only get 1 new infantry hero, and you are going to want to get her because you're going to use her for the rest of the game. This is Lagertha. So we're going to talk about Season 2 and Season 3 here together because you only get 1 infantry hero per season. For Season 2 and 3, Season X, you get 2, but that's just because, IGG wants your money. So these 2 heroes, this is your rage build. This is 100% your rage build. It's going to be your rage build for the rest of time. Their active skill damage is unlike any other. If you go ahead and look at their skills, the amount of damage that they do, like it's the same as Gregory's, right? He does 1,000 damage, but they also do this bleed factor. So this is why you want to get it. They do a lot of damage anytime they use their active skills, and this is going to be your bread and butter until you get into Season X. And even when you do get into Season X, you're still going to use. So as you can see for my build, I've got my rage build, except I've got my Season X skills in there that some of you may or may not have. I do throw Silent Invasion on there just because my 3rd march is Bjorn and Hitrold, and getting the silence effect betters at that march. So I do throw that in my build, but when you're just in Season 3, you're going to want to do the full rage build, same 5 skills. And just try and max them out. For your second march, I'm going to assume that maybe you had Bjorn and or Hobart built. this is when you want to start building your infantry march, because once you get to the end of the game, kind of where I'm in season 33. We're essentially kind of at the front of the pack when it comes to everything. So a lot of people, the best players in the game, run 5 infantry marches if they can. 5 infantry marches, and they stomp on everybody. So the golden number is 3. Usually you want to have 1 pike, 1 archer, and 3 infantry. That's like the best you can do it. If you're sick of your archers you want to switch and you'll do like 2 pikes and 3 infantry. But usually you want to try and get up to 3 infantry marches, so it's good to get a jump start on it at the beginning. So we talked this one. This one's going to be your full rage build. What is your second march going to look like? Okay, so your second march is going to be, if you watch the entirety of this video, you know that if you pair the 2 season 1 heroes together, that's going to be your best bet. That's going to be Bjorn and Hobart. And with that, you're going to want to boost your basic attack as much as possible. And then you're also going to want to utilize skills that benefit off of your target being infected with bleed. Unfortunately, that's a lot of the season 2 and 3 skills, which hopefully you are now kind of slowly unlocking. But with Bjorn, we know that he benefits off of bleed. And we know that Hobart benefits off of basic attack. So you're just going to kind of want to play your skills accordingly. So in here, I cause my march to be slowed. That's what I try to focus my Bjorn, and I don't use Hobart, I use Herald. And that's why my build a little unique. But if you're using Bjorn and Herald, you want to boost that basic attack as much as you can, and then throw your other rage skills in there as well. If you're using Bjorn and Jens, if that is going to be your second infantry march, talked about it already, but you are going to try and incorporate as much rage into this as possible. That's just another rage combination. They're not great with anything else. So I would highly recommend, if you've got another one and you've got both season 1 heroes unlocked, use Hobart and Bjorn. If you don't, I would use Hobart and Gregor, just because both of these heroes boost your basic attack. And if you utilize skills like, let me find it here so I can tell you the actual name. If you use skills like Blessed by Fate and Thor's Determination, that is going to boost your basic attack on top of what you're getting in your hero talents already. So then if you got all 5 rage hero skills unlocked, just go ahead and start slipping those in there as well. Silencer is another good one that you can always throw in there as well for a good safe bet. It essentially makes whoever you're attacking not be able to use their active skills. So when a lot of people are running infantry, this one's a good one to have to try and shut down that active skill use. This too shall pass. That's not a good one. Bloodstained Icefield, so this causes slow or bleeding. So that's why I pair him with Bjorn. And then moving into season 3 here, because you've unlocked it, this is going to be your other infantry one, Trap of Despair. But as you can see, the 9-second skill. And as we all know, if you're not going to be attacking a target for longer than 9 seconds, don't use the skill. It's not going to do anything for you. And then we won't get into season X skills because you just unlocked season 3 heroes, so you don't have that yet. All right, moving into season X. This is going to be for a lot of the well-rounded players who have been played for a while. You kind of know what's going on, and you're really just looking for the best setup. So we won't go too far into the details, but we are going to go into the 2 Season X heroes, and we'll also kind of touch base on some of these other Viking ones that are in here that aren't too bad. But we're going to talk about the Season X heroes, Safina Valley, however you want to say it. I know I'm probably saying it wrong. But these heroes are very unique. They perform something called Retribution. So troops that receive basic attack damage, counterattack, skill damage, blah, 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 will deal a portion of the received damage to the enemy while Retribution is in effect. Okay, so essentially, anytime you're taking damage, you have a % chance to give part of the damage back to whoever's hit. And Safina does the same thing, I believe. Here's the Retribution effect as well. But as you can see, or is a 20% chance to grant Retribution. Okay, so essentially your best bet, unfortunately, is going to be to pair these 2 heroes together because you're going to stack that Retribution effect. Okay, now I know Season X shards are hard to come by, especially if you're not spending a lot of money. So let's say you can only, well, actually, we're going to talk about the skills first. We got to talk about the skills first. We got to go back and do it. So a lot of the Season X skills boost Retribution effects. As you can see, here it is here. This is going to be a must-have if you're going to pair these 2 heroes together to make your march as intense as possible. But I would unlock this one first. This one's definitely better than this one. I would get this one first because this one gives you rage and it gives you a 16% chance to grant Retribution to your troop. And it increases it by 50% if the target is not affected by bleed. So this one's just a really good skill to have. And then you'll want to just kind of substitute everything else with your rage build. That's essentially how you got to do it unless you've got all the Season X skills unlocked. Let's go check out the other ones real quick. As you can see, I don't. So here we go. That's archers and that devastating charge, devastation, evasion. I don't think this one's too crazy. If anything, you'd probably want to throw this one onto your archers, especially because of this poison effect here. So this is an archer one. So those are going to be your 2 big infantry hero skills. This is another good one if you have a hero that benefits off of silence, like Safina does. If so, this is definitely a good one. You'll want to use all 3 Season X skills and then maybe throw in a First Strike there, or the Silencer, or Silent Evasion. That's another great one to throw in there. That's better than Silencer. So those are going to be your skills for your Season X heroes. You guys know the equipment and the mount setups already. When it comes to your mounts, I mainly focus on rage builds and doing direct damage because we're tapping people a lot. We're not sitting on a target for 30, 40 seconds. We're hitting someone for maybe a second and then running away. We're just going back and forth, and that's just how the game is right now. So I try to boost my percent chance to do a damage factor. So that's if you have both of them. Now let's talk about if you only have one of these 2 infantry heroes. Okay, so I went after Safina first. I think she's better. She does more damage per second. She's going to be the first one you want to unlock. Okay, so I paired her with Margit. That was my main infantry rage setup, and then my second one was these 2 where I just tried to go after bleed and silence skills to kind of better this first one. But as you can see, I am so close to getting Valley up there. I do have enough shards. No, I don't. So he's getting close. I'm super excited for that. But essentially, I got Safina first, paired him with Margit, did a rage build. That was the best damage for what I had available. And then I used these 2 for my off marches. If you have Rollo, okay, he is probably the best hero that's not a part of the regular season heroes from the special events. Rollo is great when it comes to slowness, which is why I pair him up with Lagertha to benefit off of her 6-star talent here. Just pairing those 2 up, that's going to be your best second infantry march. You're going to want to pair Lagertha with Rollo. If you don't have that, rewind in the video and watch some of the others we talked about, because I can't reiterate the same thing over and over again. So that's kind of how I played it. I'm working on getting these 2 together so then I can put this dream duo back together. But if you can't do that, Safina is going to be the one you want. Pair her up with Margit because Season 3 is better than Season 2. And then kind of start to push Valley in the meantime. Excuse me. We'll try to edit that out. 32. Okay. So moving on, that's kind of infantry heroes in a nutshell. That's pretty much everything. Herald's a good one if you don't have Rollo to pair with either Bjorn or Lagertha. I don't have Rollo. That's the only reason why I use him. Otherwise, I would definitely use Rollo. But Herald benefits a little bit off slowness, but just not as great as Rollo does. So that's kind of your different combinations. I don't think I missed anything. We'll kind of just do a big summary here to kind of sum it all up for infantry heroes. Starting off with Season X, this is going to be your best hero combination. Try and benefit off those retribution skills. That'll be the best bang for your buck. Have your second infantry march be these 2. Have that be your pure rage build. They do a lot of damage. That's going to be a great second infantry hero march to have. And then finally, you'll want to pair up either Bjorn or Herald with Rollo. If you don't have Rollo, pair these 2 together. Moving down the list, Season 3 and 2, these 2 ladies are a must, depending on wherever you are. Highly recommend getting these 2 unlocked. You're going to use them for the rest of the game. Moving down to Season 1, your best bet is going to be Bjorn and Hobart here. They do the most damage per second, over pairing them up with any of the Season 0 heroes. If you can only get one or the other, I would highly recommend getting Bjorn and pairing him up with Jens, because you're going to use Bjorn down the line. You won't really use Hobart unless you get into that 4th infantry march. Okay, so moving back to Season 0, your one and only shot is going to be Gregory and Jens. You can get those for free from the clan shop, and you're going to start off by making those a rage build or a basic attack build. So that's what I got for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed the video, I know it's kind of a longer one, but I really wanted to do a deep dive into everything related to infantry march setups. So that's what this video is. If you made it to the end of the video, I would greatly appreciate it if you consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It really helps, motivates me to make future videos in the future. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.